Well, at this time of year, there's two things which really stand out when you're out here in the clover. One of them is the incredible mass of insects, and some of them are just, they're like sci-fi. They're just incredible to see. They've got amazing colours, and honestly they look like monsters. That's one thing that I'm going to try and capture on film. This clover is a spectacular place for finding some of the insects because it's absolutely full of them. And the other thing I'm going to try and capture on film is some of the little tiny birds that are eating them. But of course I'm not going to get anything from this side of the camera. It's lovely to be down by the clover and in the flowers at the moment. All sorts of beautiful things to try and catch on camera. I was pleased to get these damselflies, which are nice, and also these caterpillars which are feed water, which a lot of people get rid of because it's poisonous, but they're pretty poisonous caterpillars. And obviously where there's caterpillars, quite a few butterflies around at the moment as well. Always interesting to try and get a different view of them, you know, some other way, and I managed to get a couple of pictures I quite liked. A lot of these insects are actually living on weeds and flowers just growing in the hedgerow. Another thing I like to try and get obviously is all the birds that are eating. The birds have timed it so that they're young at the same time. So there's familiar things like these robins which are trying to catch the worms as they usually do. We've also got the woodpecker that was coming there to eat the ants. And these flycatchers, some of these are young ones which are learning to catch insects for the first time, almost hanging upside down to try and get them. And some of them are the parents which are catching them like crazy every couple of minutes and feeding them to the young ones. And further round on my walk I went on into where it's quite shady, beneath the hawthorn trees where there's a lot of moss and it's damp and shady most of the time, and saw this little family of baby wrens. Now these are titchy little birds, and they like to skulk around in the thorns and right down there because obviously they're so vulnerable at the moment. The young ones have barely learned to fly, and if they do fly they're only flying a couple of feet really from here to there, so they'd be easy picked off. So I just sat quietly somewhere dark and tried to catch them doing their thing. And back out in the sunshine I saw this swallow. Nice to see them singing. Obviously they're mostly try and get photos of them singing. And the sparrows around the place, there's always sparrows around here anyway, and these ones have been catching bugs that are living on the weeds as well. And the thing I was most pleased to get, as people who watch my films know, I'm always trying to get pictures of the goldcrests, one of my favourite birds, and I was lucky enough to find a whole nest of them that had come out. I think there's 4 chicks, and they've left the nest so recently they learnt to fly properly yet, so they were hanging around. You can see them all huddled together there, and the parents were coming backwards and forwards every couple of minutes really, with tiny insects feeding them non-stop. And in actual fact the parents look very small. They look a bit worn out and a bit molty, which they probably are at the moment because they are worn from feeding these guys. I was there for some time, and as you can see they're pretty much, it's a non-stop thing of one of the parents coming down, feeding them, going away again. Quite a privileged sight to see these. I've never seen gold chicks before, never all in a bunch, and absolutely lovely. The parents move so quick, by the way, you can hardly see them going in, so I did try and get some photos, but very tricky. They just don't stop moving for a second.